You downloaded the episode, thank you! Before we continue my first ever journey through the Harry Potter series, just a few quick announcements. First, in less than 2 weeks, Potterless is going to be live in Portland, Oregon on February 17th at 1 p.m. at the Sentinel. I'm super stoked about it. I know exactly what I'm going to be talking about now. I will be discussing chapter 29 with Eric Schneider of Spirits. It's going to be super fun. I have been promised by Kelly that, quote, it is a hype chapter. So I'm super stoked. If you haven't gotten tickets already, go to listenupportland.com and check it out. You can get tickets to Potterless Live, Spirits Live, Horse Live, all of the above. Tickets are $10 and it's like a $3.30 processing fee. So for $13.30, you can see me live making sweet jokes. You can hang out with me afterwards. There's going to be a multitude meetup as well. I'm super excited about it. I really want to see you there. Again, tickets are available and they're selling out quick at listenupportland.com. Also, it is the first episode of Potterless in February, meaning that it is donation time here at Potterless. Each month, we donate $1 for every patron that we have at our team at patreon.com/Potterless to a different charity. And at the time of recording, we have 656 patrons, meaning that we are donating $656 to St. Mungo's. And yes, this is a real charity. It's really cold in New York, and I have a hard time just walking in the city. I can't imagine being homeless and trying to sleep outdoors through these single-digit Fahrenheit temperatures. It's awful. So I was looking for a charity that helps with homelessness, and St. Mungo's is one that's really great because I've been doing a lot of US based charities and these guys are based out of the UK, so I thought that was really awesome as well. And St. Mungo's is great because they go the next step when it comes to helping the homeless. They have a recovery based approach for clients, meaning they focus on addressing the issues a person faces to try to help them avoid falling into whatever made them be homeless. So they'll look at their skills, they'll try to find a way to get them back on their feet so that they don't get into some sort of cycle of homelessness. I'm really excited about this charity. If you want to learn more about them, you can go to mungos.org. And I mentioned those 656 patrons. Well, we have new members to welcome to the team. So shout out to Carolina Alvadia, Ella Fisher, Soleil Dufa Leo's daughter, Julie Anderson, William J. Ward, Sindhu Sridhar, Sanjana Kara, Jessica Lappin, Richie Bunker, Tua Tagovailoa, Lisa Elliott, Margaret Glide, Izzy Spina, Kira Apple, and Katie Marvel. A pronunciation correction to Caleb Omin, and a huge shout out to our newest producer level patrons, R.A.B, Noah, Tracy Toya, Lucinda, and Carlos Nino. They joined the ranks of Leanne, Vicky, Aaron, Erica, Calvin, Sadie, Jesse, Natalie, Deborah, Clau, Alex, Frank, Marchismo, Tori, Samantha, Juan, Jenna, Kieran, Rebecca, Abid, Caitlin, Rosemarie, Jill, Marie, Lisa, Ariel, Romina, Kamal, Anthony, Russell, Dustin, Katie, Audra, Andy, and Eleanor, Cindy, Billy, Rosanne, Micah, Andrea, Nikita, Colette, Trina, Lala, Chelsea, Taylor, Lovecash, Ali, Cassandra, Roxy, Amelia, Sean, Jeremiah, Sarah, Jesus, Ben, Rachel, Zachary, Jessica, Natalie, Arna, Brandy, Melody, Kristen, Zach, Elisa, Tiago, Daisy, Jessica, Orchid, Jonathan, Joe, Steve, Vivian, Samuel, Victoria, Takari, Darlene, Drake, James, Haley, Marino, Moster, Pinky, Hannah, Angelina, Ross, Marie, Peter, Maria, Phineas, Natalie, Victoria, Lee, Alex, Brian, Caitlin, Cecily, Raul, Finn, Mosine, Grace, Sammy, Raul, Ingen, Mari, Brianne, Heidi, Alexandra, John, Jen, Sefron, Dusty, Noel, Tao, Hala, Emily, Michael, Robin, Rebecca, Patricia, Jane, Will, Neil, Liz, Mariah, Brandon, Vittorio, Sarah, Claire, Teal, Sina, Silje, Desiree, Rory, Gloria, Sarah, Patrick, Alicat, William, Holly, Linnea, Everly, Kevin, and Can't I Potter, who never do the awkward thing where you say goodbye to someone and then you walk in the same direction. If you want to be like one of these amazing patrons and get access to bonus content like bonus episodes, director's commentary, exclusive live streams, you can go to patreon.com/Potterless. But without further ado, let's get into episode 63 of Potterless, covering chapter 10 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the Seattle live show, guest starring Nathan Cox and Alison Luhrs of Jet City Improv.
Hello, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Potterless Live! Woo! Hopefully you guys enjoyed that confetti bath. My name is Mike Schubert. I'm a 26-year-old man that took way too long to read the Harry Potter novels. I am going through the series for the very first time with the help of some friends that know a lot more about Harry Potter than me. So to help me out, sorry, I'm a little out of breath. To help me out, I have two lovely friends of mine that are both Seattle improvisers. We have my good friend Nathan Cox, who's an improviser here in Seattle and an amazing DJ, and my friend Alison Grant, who works for Wizards of the Coast as a narrative designer. So welcome to the stage, Nathan and Alison! All right. Thank you guys so much for helping out and discussing this book with me.
I thought you were kidding about the confetti cannon.
No, it was real.
I thought that
Super
was
real.
a lie. That was so real. Oh, you're covered. I'm so sorry.
Oh, man. So we are going to be discussing Chapter 10 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which before reading, I was warned it was a beefy chapter. It is.
It's grade A United Kingdom beef.
Deep things and feelings where you didn't think you were gonna have some
Yeah,
feelings.
it was like, I'm feeling emotions about Kreacher?
Oh,
No.
gross.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Before we begin, what are your Harry Potter houses so everyone can put it in perspective?
Oh, we're all Gryffindor.
Gryffindor
till
till
death.
I
Your boy loaded the deck. Yes.
Rawr. I don't know what the sound is.
That sounds about right. So let's get it started right away. So my first note was that being called Kreacher's Tale, first thing I wrote down, ooh, this will be interesting. And then I thought, oh no, his story will be in third person the whole time. My least favorite thing. I just gotta say, I'm very glad I didn't read the audiobook portion of this because I don't know if you guys have read the Jim or listened to the Jim Dale audiobook, but when he does house elves, not fun to listen to.
No.
Not a good time.
See, I always assumed that like Kreacher's voice, at least in my mind, was so different from like obviously like Dobby's going to sound like this, but
Yeah.
Kreacher's.
It's like Vincent Price from The Break in Thriller.
Right, or me after like a night of like 20 shots, and I wake up the next morning and I'm suddenly Kreacher. So.
So Harry wakes up the next morning in a sleeping bag, and this raises my first question: is there a reason why they slept on the floor and not in beds in
Because
a
you know
house?
those are haunted ass beds.
Okay.
Plus, they are racist beds. Everything in that house
Right,
is racist.
right, very true. Good. How could I think of this? So we
Yeah,
get
those
we get a very cute moment here, though, where Ron insisted that Hermione sleep on top of couch cushions, which is very gentlemanly of him. Why didn't they just put her in a bed? But besides the point, racist beds, as we've talked about.
beds.
Right.
But Harry notices by the positioning of Hermione that he thinks that Ron and Hermione were holding hands in their sleep, which.
This makes it look like they're dead hands.
Yeah, for everyone listening at home afterwards. It was a great hand display by Alice.
You know there was a 2-hour period where Ron Weasley was next to Hermione playing that game of, do I touch her?
Oh,
do I touch
yeah.
But maybe, I think I graced her. Did she feel it? Am I going to touch her? Should I do
know
it?
He's
Yeah.
touching. I know he wants to touch
Yeah,
me.
he's got
He
no
wants to
game
touch
they
me.
never touched.
But Harry doesn't think so. And of course, like all things for Harry Potter, when he sees this, it makes him feel lonely because he's worried about himself and no one else ever. It's like, oh, my best friends are in love, but where's my girlfriend? Gross. I wasn't surprised at all. So Harry's mind starts to wander and think of whether or not Dumbledore actually liked him or if he was just a tool, going in this
Yeah.
big like downward spiral that he tends to
Oh,
go
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Harry's really good at downward spirals. As someone who frequently downward spirals, I always really like that about his character. Like, he immediately goes to, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? But what if nobody actually liked me? Like, he goes there so fast, and I love that.
Yeah, he gets there real quick. So
He's got a lot to be depressed about.
I mean,
so
he doesn't
I
have
can't
the
blame
best
him.
life. Like, lots of bad things happen to him.
His life sucks ass.
It's okay. He's a homeowner at age 17, so he's doing way better than all of us.
That's fair. Oh, man.
So Harry decides to roam the house rather than stew in negative thoughts, and oh man, can I relate to this?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm starting to think bad thoughts. You know what needs to be cleaned? My room that I cleaned yesterday. Yeah, let's do that so I don't think about it. So Harry then decides to go into Sirius's room, and it's loaded up with posters and pictures, mainly with stuff that's Gryffindor. It really looks like Sirius is trying to rebel from his family, given that they are a bunch of Slytherins and also big ol' racists.
Yeah.
So probably an okay thing.
Sirius's bed is the only one that's not super racist.
Oh, yeah, they should have slept in Sirius's bed.
Now, you may be about to mention this, but Harry specifically calls out that he's got basically like swimsuit models on his
Yes!
walls.
Yeah.
And like, I did the math. He was born in 1959, so he's definitely got like a Farrah Fawcett, like the
Oh,
iconic
he's got the
orange
one.
swimsuit with the feathered hair. Unless there's like Wizard Babes calendars that I don't know
Well,
about.
the thing that Harry notes is that he noted that they were Muggle pictures because the people in the pictures didn't seem to be moving all
Which
that much.
brings up a really concerning point. Like, do wizards not have like sexy lady pictures? Is there just like no market for that? Like, do you have to go to the Muggle stores to buy like fun, sexy
Well,
pictures to put on your wall?
And I'm gonna say if that Farrah Fawcett poster had been moving, he never would have made it to Hogwarts. He would have been in his room
Stay put.
the whole time.
It would have been very preoccupied. So he goes into Sirius's room, and one of the pictures he notices of all of the Marauders, and they look really happy, which of course warms Harry's heart. And he tries to take the photo off, because he's a thief, but it cannot be
He's
removed.
dead. Sirius is dead.
He owns it.
Yeah, whatever. So he tries to take it, but it cannot be removed. Sirius has put some sort of charm or spell to like stay out of my room, mom. Whatever the incantation is for that. It's whatever Latin for stay out of my room, mom. That's what it is to make it stick on your wall. Harry then notices a crumpled up letter to Sirius from Lily Potter. And it's thanking him for a toy broomstick that he got for a 1-year-old Harry Potter who's already flying on this. This seems like a really dangerous toy, right?
All wizarding toys are dangerous as hell. That's
Yeah.
that's the pattern with all of them.
They're saying that like it doesn't leave 2 feet off the ground, but do you know how much it takes to like dent a baby?
Yeah.
About 1.5 feet.
And also, like, as a baby, he is not 2 feet tall, so
No.
it can go up like 300% of his height.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's not cool.
Also, like they all had broomstick training back in like book 1 to learn how to fly at all. Evidently, Harry is LeBron of Quidditch. Because dude's just like flying all over the place at the age of 2.
How fast is zooming? Also, how
Yeah,
fast
what's
is
the
the
technical
velocity
term?
of that broom's yet?
Yeah,
Well,
is he like Roomba speed? Like, is he just like bouncing off of walls and going in a new direction?
The thing that concerns me, though, is that he is 1, and my sister had a baby, and she's like 18 months old now, and she didn't start walking until like just past a year old. So you got to think like in the wizarding world, it's like, well, you got to crawl before you can fly in a broomstick,
Yeah.
and you got to fly in a broomstick before you can walk. The natural progression of human life.
First, they have to be able to hold up their head on their own, and then they have to be able to roll over onto their stomach on their own, and then they have to be able to get on a goddamn broomstick.
Just make sure not to give him an M&M or else he'll choke to death. But let him fly on a broomstick.
Broomman is fine. Nah, it's all good. So the letter mentions spending a lot of time with Bathilda Bagshot, who we just learned about being important last chapter.
that name's
Like
sounds
one
important,
chapter goes
yeah.
like, oh, by the way, Bathilda's really important. And the next chapter, Lily's like, I've been friends with her the whole time. I promise. We're the best friends ever. So Harry then has a moment of awe, but then he analyzes the letter like crazy, like any high schooler does with a text message they've received. So he notes that Dumbledore using James' invisibility cloak is strange, which is mentioned in the letter, because Dumbledore has said in the past that he doesn't need it. And Harry wonders, was he giving it to someone else? Also in the letter, it notes that Wormtail was there, and he looks sad, and Harry's like, oh yeah, is he sad because this is the last time he was going to see my parents alive? Flips the table, it's in the room.
Is he sad because he's a traitor?
Is he sad because he turns into a rat, the worst of all animals to turn into?
Yeah, so
sad
for like animagus stuff, you don't get to pick it, right? It just kind of happens.
I believe so.
So
yeah.
how bummed out does he find out, like, oh man, like I'm an animorph, I can do whatever I want. And he's like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? Like, my friend is a wolf, my other friend's a dog,
You have
I'm
to
a
work
rat.
at it. Like, they worked at it specifically. Like, they went out of their way to learn how to do this. And I imagine he was just like watching James turn into the fucking stag. And Sirius is a cool-ass dog. And he's like, wow, finally, I'm gonna find out. He's this sad, awful little rat.
All right, quick though. Like, if you were like, what would you be the most disappointed to turn into? I think I would go with like a tardigrade, like a water bear.
Ooh. I think the worst would probably be a sloth, because then there'd be no advantage to it. Like, I'd be very cute, but I'd be like, I should just walk.
Except everyone wants to cuddle you all the
Man,
time.
a slug, honestly. Like, something slow and small and squishy just doesn't sound fun.
Yeah,
at
plus
all.
then you end up in Ronald Weasley's mouth.
Callback. Sick callback. So Harry looks at the rest of the letter, and he notices that it gets cut off, of course, at, it seems incredible that Dumbledore, end of the letter. So the ultimate blue balls in the form of
Lily's
paper.
so dramatic. I love it.
Yeah, she's like, where should I go on to page 2?
This'll
Ooh.
fuck with him.
Big old cliffhanger, and second page. So Harry looks around, can't find it, but then Hermione comes in frantically, because Harry Potter, who a lot of people are trying to murder, has just left without telling his friends. Didn't write a note like, hey, I'm upstairs or anything. So they wake up and for 15
We
seconds are
slept
convinced
in
their
the
best
living
friend
room
is
for
dead.
a reason, Harry.
I like that Ron doesn't even come upstairs. He just kind of yells from the bottom, like, you get.
Yeah.
Like,
That's it's like, how dare you? So exactly, Ron says, quote, good, tell him from me that he's a git.
Yeah.
Harry then shows Hermione the letter. Hermione notes that
sorry, I thought about like what Ron was really doing in that moment was it was the first time since he almost touched Hermione that he had some alone time.
maybe that's why he wasn't concerned or able to go upstairs.
Right.
Oh, tell him he's a git from me. Yeah. So Hermione then notes.
Hoping Kreacher's not there.
God, the worst. Oh. Oh, the worst. So bad, so bad. So Hermione then notes that all the other rooms in the house are torn up, which making them think that probably Snape is the one that went through and kind of looked at all of the stuff. So
Classic stuff looker.
yeah, that's Snape. I don't understand why.
He's a real Snape goat throughout the entire book.
Come on.
That's my job. So Harry then brings up the Bathilda Bagshot thing to Hermione, and before Harry can even get out that she wrote History of Magic to try to brag, Hermione's like, "Oh, the writer of History of Magic? I'm Hermione Granger, remember?" She understands what Harry's trying to hint at so that they can have an excuse to go back to Godric's Hollow, but she warns like, "Hey, probably not a good idea still."
On account of all the people wanting to murder you.
Yeah. And especially how well they were following him to the random cafe in the Muggle world that they showed up immediately. The thing is, like, going to Godric's Hollow seemed like a bad idea when it was just going for Harry's parents. But now it's a situation where, oh yeah, Dumbledore is his neighbor, by the way. This is a really bad place to visit. Don't go to Godric's Hollow, Harry, but you gotta go to Godric's Hollow. So Hermione scorns him for doubting Dumbledore based on what crazy people like Rita Skeeter and Muriel have said. Being the voice of reason, as Hermione Granger always is, has been mentioned in the past on this podcast. If Hermione was the main character in these books, there would be two of them, and they'd each be like 12 pages long.
Yes.
So Hermione says that they should have breakfast, and on the way down, Harry notices, quote, "a pompous little sign, neatly lettered by hand, the sort of thing that Percy Weasley might have stuck on his bedroom door," which at first I was like, oh no, this is going to be the worst. But then he notes that it says, "do not enter without the express permission of Regulus Arcturus Black." And this is something I want to get really excited for, but in real life, in terms of the episodes of Potterless that have released, I haven't predicted that R.A.B. is Regulus Black for like 4 episodes. So like everyone here should be really impressed because this is the flip of the Ludo Bagman situation, but I have no proof. But for like 4 episodes, I've been like, yo, R.A.B., I'm telling you, it's definitely Regulus Black. I just need to remember if his middle name is A, and now it is, and then we get to confirm. I'm very happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. So,
But can we talk about how he has the, like, Brian's room, don't enter, like, sign on the door?
But it's like not even the cool one. It says without the express permission, which makes me think of like when you watch an NBA game and it's like, this game may not be recorded without the express written consent for the National Basketball Association.
It's like, a mattress tag, don't rip it off. Yeah.
So, not the coolest sign, but yeah, it's the lame version of like, no girls allowed. Pretty much. Hermione's already going downstairs. Harry calls her back up, saying that he found R.A.B. They call up Ron and they go into the room. And it's basically the exact inverse of Sirius's room. It's all decked out in black family gear and the crest, and then also Slytherin stuff all over. Harry even notices the picture of the Slytherin Quidditch team, and he notes that R.A.B. is the seeker there. And
Hermione's like me, and everything's about me.
Exactly. Like, oh, here's something that can relate to me. I'm Harry Potter. So he tries to tell Hermione and Ron this, and like good friends and companions, they're worried about everything else in the room besides this. Like, they're looking for important things, and Harry's like, no, look, he's in the middle of the picture because he's a seeker. And then the narrator even does this thing where it's like, Harry then realized no one was listening to him, which is so good.
That should happen so much more than it does.
It would be great. So they try Accio Locket to try to get it, which I think is great. And if I was a wizard, I would do that all the time.
You know, you gotta try. At least they give it a shot.
Yeah, but then that's how you end up with like a body like Horace Slughorn, because you don't do anything, you just say Accio everything.
Exactly. The last episode that I recorded, I talked about this. It's like being able just to apparate super quickly would be so tempting, and then you'd be like, oh man, I could walk 5 steps to the fridge, or...
Also, I want to be clear, I have a body kind of like Horace Slughorn, so that's not me making an insult.
It's all good. Live your truth. So they try Accio Locket, it doesn't work, and they try to theorize about where it might be, and then they have a sudden realization, which hurts my soul. So there is a quote where Hermione says, there was a locket. And Ron, Harry, as well as everyone else reading the book goes, what? And Hermione says that in the cabinet, in the drawing room, nobody could open it. And we, ... Harry's a pit in the stomach. So the cleaning chapters in the beginning of the Order of the Phoenix that I have shit on for the past 28 episodes of Potterless,
shouldn't have shit on it.
they were actually important. And I can't believe
There was a whole
it.
sentence that was important in there.
I'm not
can't believe
spoiling nothing, but this book is just chock full of like, see, I put this in there for a reason.
I have been warned by dozens of people that there are going to be multiple moments like this in the book where, like, look, Mike, there's going to be some times where
Honestly,
there's the tiniest gotcha moments,
anytime-
and you're going to be so mad.
Anytime you see a list of items, like just keep a notepad and
Yeah.
just write them all down. That way you'll never miss anything.
See, I did, but I took notes on the dumb things like essence of Merlap, and that has not come up again.
Too useful. Too
It
useful.
really, but
No.
when I start destroying Harry Potter trivia across the nation, then I'm going to be so great, because I'll be like, oh, no, I know exactly how many pages Ludo Bagman was in. I'm well aware of what goes on. So, Harry feels like there's a brick in his stomach, and he realizes that they threw it out into the rubbish. And Harry tries to hold on to the hope that Kreacher tried to steal it, like, hey, maybe Kreacher tried to steal our stuff that we were getting rid of. So that's basically their only chance. Harry calls for Kreacher, who apparates in immediately. And of course, what's the first thing that Kreacher does? Because he's a big old racist, comes in and goes, the mudblood, the blood traitor, why am I here? My master would be so upset. And Harry immediately is like, no, you're not allowed to do that anymore, and says he can't call them those names. And he asks Kreacher, and every time he talks to Kreacher now, as he did when he put him and Dobby on spy duty, has to preface it with like 100 things so you don't get the genie thing where they go like similarities or whatever. He's like, you have to tell the truth, you can't lie to me, you really need to tell me where it is. When I ask this question, you have to answer it like all of the Apple user agreement thing.
good,
It's like, he goes through all of that. It's like, do you agree? And the Kreacher's like, oh, fine, Kreacher agrees. And then finally says like, where is it? And he says that Mundungus Fletcher took it. And the like complete 180 that I've done where first I was like, Mundungus Fletcher has a cool name and seems quirky. That's great. To now I'm like, fuck Mundungus Fletcher so
sucks.
much.
He sucks.
He's so bad.
He sucks.
So bad.
He's got dung in his name. That's how you know.
Yeah. When you're a combination of the words mundane and dung, like
So, yeah, not ideal. So he took it. Harry asks why. And then Kreacher goes into this big story, which is the title of this chapter. So the whole story is about that after Sirius ran away, Regulus joined the Death Eaters at age 16, very Malfoy-esque. And he was very happy and proud to serve Voldemort. One day, 1 year after he served, Regulus said that Voldemort needed an elf. And even Harry's like, Voldemort needed a house elf? Why?
there's so many reasons why. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Because Voldemort, doesn't think that everybody is as important as him. The squad is very shocked, and Kreacher says that he was honored. And he gets this, like, I don't know if it's cute or scary that the whole time he's telling the story, he's rocking back and forth.
I think that qualifies as scary.
Yeah.
Upsetting.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of adorable because Kreacher was important, but then you learn what Kreacher did, and you're like, oh, never
Horribly
mind.
traumatized little asshole. Yeah.
So Kreacher then tells the squad about how Voldemort set him to go to that same cave where the Black Lake was and the Flying Dutchman's ship and
the
all of
worst
that.
lake, yeah.
And Voldemort basically made Kreacher be the guinea pig to like test run it. Be
Yeah.
like, when you run like your roller coaster in Roller Coaster Tycoon, when you make a created one, you're like, will this water slide work if there's a jump in the middle? Let's
Here,
give it a shot.
put the elf on.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
Kreacher. So he basically does that. And
Like, just in case you needed a reminder that Voldemort is, like, hella evil, like, yeah, we're just gonna have him, like, literally torture a living sentient person.
yeah. And I
Sucks,
imagine
yeah.
him just like having Kreacher go through the thing and just like standing with his arms crossed, like, yes, okay, now stick your hand out and then call up the ghost boat that's underneath the water. Perfect.
Why'd you put your hand in the water, Creature? Yeah, just put your hand in the water. Yeah, cool. You're great.
So he basically had Kreacher go through the whole thing and then took the potion. And then once the potion was out, put the locket in, filled up more of this poison death potion, and was like, okay, great, it works. I'll see you later. Thank you so much. And then just pieces out. So Kreacher then has to drink from the water because, as we've seen with the very traumatizing Dumbledore situation, it is messed up stuff. And I don't know, do they ever like fully describe what that potion does to you, or do you just kind of have to infer?
You get to infer.
Okay.
And
Infuri?
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, it's fine. I don't know if like later in the books they're like, oh, by the way, like if Harry ever talks to Painting Dumbledore.
Yeah.
If he doesn't talk to Painting Dumbledore in this book, I'm going to be so disappointed.
I have no idea what happens.
Oh my
I
goodness.
always gathered that like it just kind of like makes you like realize or remember like your worst fears and memories and
Yeah.
like puts you in the worst mental headspace, whether it's potential or something you've actually experienced.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's just like the worst version of Boggart, or just like that one time you said that awkward thing in 6th grade forever.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, just like on repeat again. So
Hey, you guys want to go see Pokemon 2000 this Friday?
So
Don't remember.
Kreacher then drinks from the Black Lake, and the Inferi drag him under. But Harry asks how he escaped, and Kreacher said that Regulus called him back, and he just, by the powers of house elf magic, just kind of went back immediately. And Harry doesn't want to believe him. He's like, but wait a second, you can't disapparate. And
It's a cool point, though. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that elf magic works differently than human wizarding magic. I always thought that was a really cool world-building point. Just that different beings use magic in different ways. And it does speak to Voldemort's arrogance that he didn't think that elves could use something that he couldn't.
Yeah, and this is the second time that he's done this with the cave, because Dumbledore also noted in the end of the sixth book, he's like, oh, Voldemort didn't think that any teenager would be able to do this. You're fine, you're good. So yeah, Voldemort, not ideal.
Well, and the tricky thing, and it gets to this a little bit more, but like elves are evidently, it seems like infinitely powerful.
Yeah.
And the fact that they are, as Hermione kind of points out, that they are kind of slaves and have to follow unless they're freed. What would happen if there was a 100% like house elf uprising? And
Right?
yeah.
This made me very much think that it's like a Planet of the Apes situation waiting to happen. Like, you just need one smart house elf that's like, wait a second, guys, what if we didn't do what they said? What if we all just wear socks and then didn't do what they say and then rise up, and then they can just like do all sorts of magic in Hogwarts that the people can't do, and then they're screwed.
And I'm all for house elf liberation, except
Sure.
I really hate those portions of the books with Hermione.
I don't know if they ever come to fruition of anything at all, but we got a lot of spew stuff that so far hasn't done anything.
I love the idea that a house elf like leads the rebellion and like still speaks in third person the whole time. So it's like Jellybean thinks we should stand against the man. It's perfect because no one would take them seriously, and then they would rule humanity. So
And then we'd all be speaking in third person. So yeah, Ron brings
Alison
up the point.
is amused too.
So Ron brings up the point that elf magic is different than human magic, citing that, you know, they can disapparate and apparate within the walls of Hogwarts. Harry questions why Voldemort would overlook this, and Hermione says, look, Voldemort is so racist that he didn't process that anybody else can do magic, so he didn't really think to do it. So Harry then goes on to ask what happened when he got back. Kreacher says that Regulus was very worried and told him to stay hidden and not leave the house. And then one night, Regulus, who Kreacher says must have been out of his mind, asked Kreacher to take him to where Voldemort brought him. And when they went, Regulus drank the potion and then ordered Kreacher to swap the lockets and then leave without him, and promising to never tell anybody about what happened, and told him to destroy the locket, which, like, oh man, Regulus. It makes me really want to know at what point Regulus makes the turn.
Right.
Because it seems like a really interesting thing to go from, because this would be the equivalent of like Malfoy being all in on being evil and awful, and then just deciding, you know what, actually, I'm going to turn on Voldemort.
Yeah.
And I want to see like what sparked Regulus to do it.
Right, like this is basically like someone joining a cult and like realizing at some point while they were indoctrinated like in that system that, wait, no, this is messed up. I'm gonna blow this whole thing up.
Yeah.
And then following through with that, not just following through with that, but sacrificing his life to do it. That's intense.
Yeah, it reminds me of John Boyega's character in the new Star Wars movies.
Finn.
Oh, Finn.
Yeah, Finn, because he kind of does the same thing. Like he was a stormtrooper, and they're like,
Yeah.
actually, no.
This is messed up. I'm gonna blow this whole thing up. And he does.
Yeah, I don't know if the Kreacher thing is what specifically made Regulus do it, because Regulus really liked Kreacher, but I love that we have a really interesting character.
Yeah.
And of course, like all the interesting characters in the book, Charlie Weasley, we never learn about the interesting characters. There's just one sentence where like, this person's the best. Anyway, let's go talk about how Harry was sad about stuff.
Well, and it makes me wonder, like, how much did Regulus know at that moment? Like, as far as his knowledge of like Horcruxes, did he know that this was like one?
He knew enough to figure that out.
Yes.
Like he must have.
But if he thought like this will do it and this will be the end of him, or if he's just like, who knows what else is out there? I don't know, but like this will like be a piece, and that's enough. Like that's a really bold thing.
Either way, Regulus is awesome.
Yeah.
Big fan. So now I think I'm up to 2 Slytherins that I like. So woo, we've got Tonks's mom and Regulus. All right. So Hermione is in tears at this story, as is Kreacher. She tries to hug him, but then he freaks out that a mudblood touching him would displease his mistress. And Harry's like, I told you to stop being racist. So Kreacher says says that he tried to destroy the locket, but nothing that he did worked. And Kreacher is clearly upset about his inability to destroy the locket and that he wasn't allowed to tell anybody. And at this point, I had a very weird, conflicting moment where I felt bad for Kreacher, and I wasn't sure if I should. It was interesting because, like,
Yeah, it's messy.
he's put in like a weird situation, and then what Hermione explains afterwards is basically that, you know, yes, he is siding with some not so good people, but you just got to think like he's just being nice and loyal to the people that are good and nice to him. And you have people like Sirius, like, yeah, we got to like Sirius, but like Sirius was a dick to him. Like Sirius was not nice to him, regardless of Sirius's good intentions or the fact that he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like he was awful to Kreacher, and just because Kreacher is loyal to the people that aren't shit to him, I feel like that's a natural reaction that people
Yeah,
have.
it is.
And is like, obviously he is a product, he's a reflection of that entire house, of that entire family. So as with real people, like as long as you change and make an effort and like who knows what's gonna happen with Kreacher, but that's what's obviously important in the situation. So, but right now he's still, the fact that he was just like, don't touch me.
I love how unapologetically messy that the morality of these books can be when it decides to like really get in there. Like there is no clear-cut answer in this situation. Like there's horrible people on the good side and the bad. And you know, Kreacher is horrible and gross, but also he was hideously traumatized. And did a whole bunch of things he didn't want to do, and that sucks.
And I think what Kreacher is going through is definitely worse than what Snape is going through. Oh, I had a crush and this girl didn't like me. Oh, so now I'm just going to be evil for 6.5 books.
Oh, man. I was about to ask, does Snape not qualify for you like Slytherins? And now I'm pretty sure I know the answer. So.
Yeah. So Harry then says he doesn't understand why Kreacher would go along with orders from Narcissa, and this is where Hermione says the whole, like, look, these were the only people that were nice to him. Yeah. Hermione says that she knows he's going to bring up that Regulus changed his mind, and she cites that Regulus never told this to Kreacher, so it's not exactly sure, like, where we can stand on Regulus, and it's a weird, like, confusing moment between all of them, but at the end of the day, they kind of have to just think nicely for Kreacher. He was basically just doing what he was told and then being nice to people. So after that, Hermione says that she always thought that wizards would pay for how they treated house elves, and both Sirius and Voldemort have, which is another like serious real talk truth bomb moment, because it's like, this person that is Satan is going to suffer from it, but also is your godfather.
Sirius was part of that system too. Like,
yeah. And it's problematic, even for the people that we like.
Yes.
No,
Just like in real life.
I do want to take a moment in that passage where there are times where Harry is asking direct questions to Kreacher, and Hermione is like, don't you understand? And I'm like, this is the classic, like, a white person being like answering a question about oppression when there's a person of color in the room that can answer it for them. And it's just like, he could have spoken up for himself and said how he felt, but in the instant, she's just like, no, I'm an expert. I have friends who are elves. Let me talk. And it's like, Hermione, just chill out for a second.
But I personally thank her for doing this, because I would rather have things explained to me in first person rather than have Kreacher be like, well, Kreacher was treated poorly by Sirius Black, so Kreacher be like, stop, please stop. Just talk like a person, please. So I get it, but also I'm fine with it. So then Harry kind of has a bit of a change of heart. So he remembers what Dumbledore says after Sirius's death, which that he didn't think that Sirius ever considered that Kreacher would have emotions similar to a human. And this is something that we get to the whole thing of wizards only thinking highly of themselves and not other beings, is that wizards don't recognize, like, hey, these other people matter. Like, giants matter, and werewolves matter, and we shouldn't be mean to them just because they're different than us. And this is one of those, like, really good talking points in the book that's like, this is awesome. Thank you, J.K. Rowling. Like, this is so good. So I really found this to be nice, and I like that Harry Potter had a change of heart, but then he completely oversells it, as Ron calls him out for. So Harry extremely politely asks Kreacher to find Mundungus and bring him here so they can finish the work Regulus started. But it's like, hey, Kreacher, hey, how's it going? Thanks for sharing this story. You know who really sucks? Oh, that Mundungus guy, right?
But in the text, though, it says it takes him like 40 minutes to get to that
point.
Like,
no, right.
It's
I
like
forgot.
40 minutes of just like, let him cry it out. Let him cry it out.
Yeah, so
Here's
it's
a
that,
box
but
of
then
tissues.
they have the moment when there's 30 minutes of Kreacher being too happy, because he very politely tells him all of this, and then then after he asks him, like, hey, remember that Mundungus guy that we hate? He's so bad. Like, can you go to Mundungus, please, and take care of him? Here, why don't you take Regulus's locket? And then Kreacher flips shit for 30 minutes. Like, just like freaking out, like running all over the place, like running back and forth uncontrollably. Like,
this whole endeavor is like taking care of that one like messy, dramatic friend who's having like a difficult day. And you know, like, this is gonna take me 3 hours to get through, but Rebecca's having a tough time. We're gonna go over and make sure we all get through this alive and okay.
I can imagine trying to calm someone down for 30 minutes if they're really distraught, like hand on the shoulder, like, hey, it's okay, buddy, it's gonna be fine. I don't know that I've ever tried to stop someone from being happy, like so happy that for 30 minutes they were just screaming. So I don't know, like, what does that look like to be like, no, it's okay, it's not that good of a locket. Like, it's a fake locket. Like, it's not the real one, Kreacher.
It's
like, no.
It's for the family. I love it. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like,
It's just doing that for literally an hour. It's exhausting. It's like a hummingbird.
Yeah, like I don't know if like if Harry and Ron start like playing a game of wizard chess, like he's still freaking out.
Yeah,
They like
he's
pull
still
out some
jumping around.
gobstones. They play Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery, and they wait 500 hours before you can do the next damn mission in the game. Oh my gosh! My little side note about Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery: like sometimes the things like matter when you have to like wait 8 hours to do the next task because McGonagall will be like, oh, I'll write you a letter when I'm ready to teach you this hard spell that isn't in the curriculum. That makes sense. But other times like Rowan's like, hey, meet me in the Gryffindor common room. And then the game's like, you have to wait 3 hours before you can walk up a flight of stairs, idiot. Why don't you go play gobstones with Bill Weasley to try to get a sweater? Oh, man. So...
These are intense thoughts on game design.
Thank
you.
Oh yeah, right. Hey, it's a very fun game, but it's like one of those like you're gonna want to buy money, and I still haven't paid a cent, which I'm really happy about.
Nice work.
Very proud of this. So gives him the locket. He freaks out. 30 minutes later, he's back down to earth, and then he bows to Ron and Harry, and then he turns to Hermione, and he does a weird spasm, which the narrator describes as a failed salute. And then he disapparates.
Improvement?
Yeah.
Improvement?
I wanted more detail on the weird spasm, though. Like, I want to know, was it a weird arm thing? I thought it was like he was trying to figure out, like, what a curtsy is. And he, like, I'm supposed to do something different to
For those
women.
of you listening at home, we're attempting to
Lots
all
of good spasm.
spasming on
register our bodies in a way that looks like a salute. Yeah, it's difficult.
I'm really excited about how, like, I don't know exactly how much time has passed since Mundungus took the locket.
So he took that. They learn it in the beginning of the 6th book, where Harry's like, "Oh, hey, Mundungus, what's up?" And then like all of the things fall out of his trench coat, and he's like, "Mundungus."
So I'm real excited for, and you'll have the tension from this chapter to whenever Kreacher completes his task, if he completes his task, that he's been waiting a year and a half, maybe a year, and this whole time he's been pissed off. So when Harry's just like, "I give you permission," you imagine that in Kreacher's head, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck that dude up." Oh, like the joy he must feel to just be
Also-
like, "I'm gonna use my elf powers."
Theoretically, this is locket, like, it's still a Horcrux, so it's still, like, cursed as shit. Which means
Right.
Mundungus has been walking around with this, like, cursed-ass motherfucking locket
Yeah.
for, like, a year.
Yeah, I wonder if bad stuff has happened to Mundungus. I hope it
I hope
has.
so.
I hope like
I hope
really
he's
weird
suffering.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still around for the multiple Harrys excursion at the beginning of this book, so
Yeah.
clearly it hasn't affected him too badly.
Yeah, except he disappeared like a coward and let Mad Eye Moody die. Or did he die? Because Moody's body hasn't been found. Yeah, I have no idea. I really thought Moody was back when they first get into Grimmauld Place, and then you hear the like Severus Snape, and I was like, oh hell yeah, Moody's back. And then 2 sentences later, they're like, actually, Moody's not back. Yeah. It's like, oh,
But
man.
it's true, you can't confirm until you see the body, so.
We never
Game of
know.
Thrones rules. Game of Thrones rules.
I've also never seen that. So that is the end of this chapter. But do you guys have anything else to say just about the chapter itself or
This was
anything
a
that has
juicy
conspired?
one. I love how messy and full of feelings this is. So like when you think about a family member that has died, like you always want to cling to whatever you can find of them that's still lying around. And like encountering like proof that they were a person who were alive once also reminds you that they were still people who are fucked up and messy and full of bad ideas. Like, and it's always difficult to like deal with that in real life. And J.K. Rowling handled it really nicely in the book. just as far as like the weird, complicated feelings of like learning about these people that aren't here anymore and realizing that they aren't the memory that you have in your head. They're still people, you know?
Yeah. And I'll also, like, I don't know why this thought occurred to me. I want to say her name is Phyllis, but that's not right. Remember the black families in the painting who always just yells at them?
Oh,
whenever they
yeah,
run by?
Mama Black.
Mama
Yeah.
Black?
Mama
Right,
Black,
yeah.
Yeah, let's just say her name is racist Mama Black.
Her name's Linda and she sucks.
In my mind, like, I know that, like, we may or may not live in a magical world, but I'm like, that's why we should get rid of all Confederate statues in the United States.
Oh my
Because you know,
gosh.
if they could, they would be doing the same thing that she is.
Yo, we don't want the night in the museum situation where they come to life and all that.
It would be horrible. It'd just be like it was when she's there, like make too much noise near them, and then just things get really
Yeah.
horrible.
Turn it
So-
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Let's take them down. Yeah.
No, yeah,
And
I-
why is her like paint? Maybe it's perma stuff.
I think it's again where they literally can't remove
They
it
got the
'cause-
same adhesive stuff that Sirius did and just like painted all over the really
Yeah.
horrible shit man.
Yeah.
No, I'm
or secure the curtains. Like, can't you perma stick the curtains to the painting?
Or like you can buy some like safety pins, just like
just a lot of stuff to cover it up.
honestly, yeah.
I'm so intrigued by like whatever. I need to know more about how paintings work
Yeah.
because when is the painting painted, and then like is there any downtime between like death? You know, what if you like pass in your sleep or one of those things where you like don't know what's up and you just like wake up and you're like, why am I in Dumbledore's? Oh man, oh what happened? Oh come on!
What if you just-
Hey, anyone here? How did I die? You had an aneurysm. Shit.
Oh come on!
What if you just like flat out are just like, I'm cool with not existing anymore. Let me just like cease to be, and instead
Yeah.
you're in this.
But like,
painting
it's
for a long
not
time.
necessarily a sentient. Like the paintings aren't necessarily sentient. Like it's
But
just
they
sort of
have
like
emotions because the fat lady erupted into
Right.
tears when she found out that Dumbledore died. So, like, are they still people?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of rules do the paintings have? And of course, J.K. Rowling never says anything. Why would she describe it to us? Or does she?
As someone who, so
The silence after makes me think she might. Does Harry finally ask questions?
The last half of the book takes place in a painting.
So I make video games for a living, and part of like the worst part of coming up with imaginary places is the fact that you can't explain everything, and some things you shouldn't explain, because the moment that you start to like get into the midichlorian levels of like here's the science of how it works, it immediately stops being magical and starts being scientific, and that sucks.
Yeah, I think
So
at times I
I'm
need
gonna
to.
rain on your parade.
There's
You
a lot
don't
of-
want to know how the paintings
There's a
work.
lot of times as I read these books where I'm like, oh right, it's a book about magic. Like maybe I should just like calm down.
Well, if you think about it too hard, you'll end up in this horrible like Black Mirror space where like, yes, it is a copy of someone, and they've been living in an elementary school for 500 years, and
Yeah.
it's awful.
Things get real dark. Real fast.
Oh man. Well, thank you guys so much for joining along.
you.
You
My
guys
pleasure.
were fantastic. Really do appreciate it. And then is there anything you want to plug or talk about for the lovely humans listening here
yeah.
and at home?
Yeah, so Nathan and I were both on a podcast called Mermaid in Manhattan. And the plot of Mermaid in Manhattan is it is a post-apocalyptic adventure about a three-way married couple going to rescue one of their husbands that was kidnapped by reverse mermaids.
And reverse mermaids are exactly what you think
Exactly
they
what you
are.
think
So picture it, and you've got it. But yeah, there's a civil war between the normal mermaids and the reverse mermaids happening in underwater Manhattan. There's
It's the coolest project
there's
I've ever worked on.
troglodytes. There's like all sorts of things going
Yeah,
on.
there's a cosmic infinite eel who's an asshole. It's great. Yeah.
And Mermaid on Manhattan is in all platforms: Apple Music, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it, it's there. So go give that a listen.
Yeah.
For sure.
And if you're not doing anything later tonight, I'm going to leave this theater and drive 10 minutes to the Pocket up in Greenwood to go be in my comedy duo called Book Club. So if you want to watch me get drunk on stage, that's what I'm doing tonight.
It is a good time. The show is very fun.
Also, I do want to mention that I hope we find a way to get it on the podcast.
Yes, dude, please do.
That I wrote for the next chapter. For those of you who know what the next chapter is about, I wrote a battle rap from Harry's perspective against the guy who shows up at Grimmauld Place to the tune of Story of Adidon, which is the Pusha T versus Drake rap, which is all about fatherhood. So I was going to do that tonight, and then I showed up and I was like, Chapter 10? No! So maybe we'll find a way to have that
I'll find
happen.
a way to get it.
Okay,
in.
okay.
But yeah, honestly, thank you guys so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed them too. So that, give it up. So,
All right, Pass Mike, you think you're hot shit just because you're live? Well, we have to take a step back before we get to the Q&As because it is time for Wingardium Adridosa. Today's episode of Potterless is brought to you by Hover. Let's say, hypothetically, you're starting a new business about wizarding wheezes in Diagon Alley, and you're trying to make a name for yourself, especially because it's the late 90s, early 2000s. People are talking about this whole internet thing, and you want to have an internet presence. Well, you want to make sure your brand is represented well with a nice, clean, crisp domain name. And what better way to do that than with Hover? Hover makes it incredibly easy to find and register your domain name, connect it to your website, and get your brand going. Because whether you're starting a Wheezes store, a podcast, a blog, whatever it may be, you don't want your URL to be a sentence long. I used Hover when I was securing wizardon.com, which I'm very happy to have. They made the process so simple. Hover is fantastic because they have over 400 domain name extensions to choose from, so just in case Weasley's Wizardingwheezes.com is taken, maybe you can find weasleywizarding.wheezes. It might be a choice, I'm not sure. And what's great is that Potterless listeners can get 10% off your first purchase if you go to hover.com/Potterless. Again, go to hover.com/Potterless, get 10% off your first purchase, register a domain name, connect it to whatever site that you have, and get those kids on the internet going to check out your online Weasley Wizarding Wheezes store. Today's episode of Potterless is also brought to you by Skillshare. A wise prophet once said that sharing is caring, and what better thing to share than skills? That's where Skillshare can do it, because as their name states, it's a place where people share their skills with you. And isn't sharing the best when you're on the receiving end? Because that's what you get with Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators. They have over 25,000 classes in subjects like design, business, photography, etc. You'll discover countless ways to fuel your curiosity, creativity, career, whatever it is. You can take classes in social media marketing, mobile photography, creative writing, illustration, and you can use it for whatever you're going for. If that's discovering a new passion, if that's starting a side hustle, if that's trying to develop some new professional skills like me. I just started a job in podcast advertising and I have no experience with it. Skillshare can be that to you if your job is applicable. Recently, I've been taking the Skillshare course called Storytelling for Leaders: How to Craft Stories That Matter. I'm thinking of developing a scripted podcast, and the two that I work on are not scripted at all. So I need to develop this skill. The class has been really great, and it's good to get a sense of how I can tell stories effectively. It's something that I already love to do, but now I have an expert teaching me some skills about how to make that craft better. So if you want to join the millions of students taking classes at Skillshare, you can get 2 months for free. Yeah, 2 months of this for free. That's right. Go to Skillshare.com/Potter. Let's get 2 free months of Skillshare, start developing all these new skills, and be an amazing person at whatever you're trying to do. All you got to do is go to Skillshare.com/Potterless.
So, we have got the space until 8:15, and what I want to do is open this up now to a Q&A session. So basically, if any of you folks want to ask any particular question, please spoiler free. Yeah, if you need to roll out and go to your show, you can totally do that.
No, I got like 10 minutes. Let's do this.
Okay, cool. So I think the best way to do this is like either go to one aisle or the other and like maybe line up, and then we will pass one of the microphones to you. So if you have any sort of question, please spoiler free, or any sort of like, hey, have you heard this like theory or anything like that, please come on up and ask away and I'll answer it, and we can become good old friends.
Yay,
because
friends.
the best part about Harry Potter is talking about it with my friends, which all of you folks are my friends. So yeah, at this point, anyone like come on up, don't be shy. You can ask questions and stuff. Microphone stands are great, beautiful. It's all right. Come over to that one.
I can hold one for you. Or,
yeah,
either or.
So please, anyone, and please do ask questions. Otherwise, I'm going to be sitting up here and this will be super awkward. All right, great. And say your name and stuff so everyone can know.
Hi, I'm Maria.
Hello, Maria. How's it going?
I'm good.
Oh yeah, what's your house?
Yes.
Gryffindor, obviously.
I like your Gryffindor Potterless shirt. What's up?
I was wondering if you could pick any character from any of the books to be on your podcast, who would you pick and why?
Charlie Weasley.
Obviously.
Oh my gosh. I would just ask him so many questions about everything, just because I have made it not a secret that he's my favorite, and I would want to know so much more about him. So it would be a great episode of Potterless where we wouldn't talk about the book or anything at all. I would just be like, hi, Charlie, can we just talk about you? It'd be a fun, like, 38-hour episode of Potterless. No edits, obviously. So yeah, I would say definitely Charlie Weasley. You guys can also answer the questions if there's anyone you would want to get on. But yeah, I feel like Charlie, definitely number one. I think Ginny would also be a great choice too,
So
just for all
basically
the
all
sass.
the Weasleys.
I mean, yeah, except for Percy.
That's obvious.
Like, not Percy at all. And then, as I've now learned, Aunt Muriel also sucks. So no Aunt Muriel, no Percy. Definitely Charlie and Ginny would be the dream duo.
I personally I would love to watch you get frustrated by Hagrid. Because I feel like he would just get off on tangents or whatever, but would be super polite, and you're just like, I don't want to be mean to this guy.
And then he'd start telling me
have any animals, Michael?
he'd start telling me a lot of things I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah.
And then, I shouldn't have said that.
Right, yeah, he'll divulge secrets. You'll learn more that way.
Yeah.
Luna, absolutely.
Ooh,
I could learn.
good call.
I
good
could
call.
learn so much from her. I would love to be able to sit down for like a 38-hour uncut conversation that would later be released in DVD box sets.
Yeah, I feel like that episode would just be like, "Hi, I'm joined by Luna Lovegood," and then you just like sit back and be like, all right, and continue." So yeah, I think that would be my dream guests.
By the way, I listened to your bonus episodes of you playing the game, and your Hagrid impression cracked me up so much.
Oh, where I just make him sound like a pirate.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, what is your name and house?
My name's Rachel, and I'm a Ravenclaw.
Woo, all right.
So my question is kind of going off the Hagrid, favorite magical creature that you've encountered so far?
Oh, man. So for the longest time, it was the Blasted Scroots.
Obviously.
And then the official Pottermore account was like, look at this art that we got this artist to do about all the magical creatures. And it was like, oh, look how wonderful they are. And then the freaking Blasted Scroot one is nightmare fuel. It is terrifying. There's like pincers everywhere and flames and like, it's so, I was like, oh, no, never mind. So I would say it started as the Blasted Scroots. Yes. And now, I mean, the hippogriffs are really cool. I kind of like an animal that inherently is like, this animal's really nice unless you're rude to it. And then it attacks you with its vicious claws. I really kind of like that, rule for an animal.
For me, I love the Thestrals. I just think that's such a...
Yeah. I love a good bony pony.
That's right. They're just like, it's so like, I love the fact that it's conditional, that like some people get to experience them and some people don't. It would make me super jealous if I weren't able to see one.
But I mean, it's a weird thing where it's like, oh man, I can't see Thestrals, but it's like, well, you've also never witnessed death. So
yeah, there's positives in some ways or whatever.
I love any animal that's naturally goth. That's so rad.
Thank you so much for your question. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Slytherin.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah. This makes three Shubes.
No, but real Slytherins are okay. All the book Slytherins are bad. Real life people Slytherins, you're great. You're, I hope, not racist.
Houses.
I'm not racist.
Good, great, awesome. Woo! Glad we dodged that bullet.
If you were to found a fifth Hogwarts house, what are the colors? What's the mascot? What is the trait?
Oh my goodness. Let's see.
This one's all yours.
Okay,
I feel
so
like you gotta have ownership.
Yeah,
of
all right. So the colors are navy blue and pink. As I am roughly wearing right now, as you can tell. I just thought it's always like a cool color scheme, and every time I played like one of those sports video games where you get to make your own team, I always did that, and I was like, why is the NBA so afraid of making pink?
Sounds like something
come
someone
on.
who's currently wearing navy and pink would say.
Hey, what's up? It's Editing Mike. Just wanted to jump in to say that since recording this, the Miami Heat have thankfully unveiled an all-pink uniform, and it is divine. So thank you, NBA, for embracing pink and not being afraid of it.
So let's see. I would say colors are navy blue and pink. The trait, I would say, funny or witty, just like a whole house of like Fred and George and Ginny, like a whole just like they're the ones that are like fun to hang out with. So it's like, but I feel like Hufflepuff would be pretty similar to that. But something along those regards, I would say. Oh, the mascot. Oh my goodness. Does that have to be a real animal, or can I pick a magical one? All right, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know the rules. My name isn't an alliteration, so I can't pick up a house. That's not, I gotta have an alliteration name to found it.
You gotta be Mike Moobert.
Yeah. As far as the mascot, let's see. I'm blanking on like really cool stuff, but I'm gonna go with what my favorite animal was growing up. I really liked geckos. I thought they were cool. I like that they like stick to walls and stuff, and that they're also like wonderful car insurance salesmen. So maybe we'll go with the gecko.
Can I answer this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be House Fagolon.
Ooh.
And their house colors are bright purple and bright green, and they are the ICP of the of the Harry Potter universe. Like they get super high. They're pretty chill. They're all about family. That's one of their big traits.
Yeah.
Whenever they see each other, they shout whoop whoop. And the creature is definitely a doxy because doxies are like the most ICP creature
I
in
can
the
see it.
Harry Potter universe.
I've also remembered what animal I want to actually pick for my house, which I guess is just House Schubert. It's an okapi because it's like you took like a zebra and like an antelope and a giraffe and you were like, yeah, that animal. So we're going with that. Thank you again so much for your question. Yeah, hello.
Hello, my name's Holly. I'm in Slytherin.
Ooh, cool, awesome, great.
Not racist.
Good.
Oh boy. We're gonna make a blanket assumption.
I
from
love
here
that
on
this
out.
is gonna be like, I feel like every podcast live show has like some sort of rules, like the McElroy say like no bummers. Mine would be like, if you're a Slytherin, you must confirm that you're not racist before you ask a question. So anyway, go on.
It's kind of a two-parter. So,
Good.
have you had the birdies? Have you had the flavored beans?
So I have not, because when I first, half of them are flavored like shit. So when I first heard about them when I think was like a sophomore in high school, and someone was like, oh, I've got the Birdie Bots beans. And I was like, what are those? And they were like, oh, there's those jelly beans from Harry Potter. And I was like, I haven't read Harry Potter. And then of course, 15-minute discussion, you haven't read Harry Potter? So after that finished, he was like, yeah, there's these jelly beans where half of them taste really good and then half of them taste really bad. And I was like, so there's a 50-50 chance you're gonna really not like what you eat? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, I'm not gonna eat that.
Yeah, but I mean, have you gone to Applebee's?
Never by choice, but yes.
It's the same thing. It's really the same thing. Also, I'm sorry that you lost a sponsor of Applebee's for the rest of your podcast.
This episode of Potterless is brought to you by Chili's.
Okay. Well, so since you haven't had them, you'd have to just imagine, I guess, from what you've read, of the nasty flavors.
Okay.
Which one would be the most palatable if you had to just like?
Okay.
take a
Do
hot
you
break?
offhand know what the nasty ones are? I know there's like
there's, like,
earwax and
earwax
vomit.
Yeah, and dirt,
boogers.
yeah, soap, earwax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grass? Oh, you know what? I would probably go with grass because have you guys ever eaten beets? Like definitely tastes like grass. So I'd just be like, all right, fine.
I don't know. A grass would like pair with a nice Sauv Blanc or something.
If the soap was like maybe like depending on the flavor of soap, like if it was like Dr. Bronger's mint soap, like maybe I could get down with that. But you have to be careful with that stuff because if you use it and aren't careful, then you get a Kreacher, which is a real angry asshole.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your question.
Hi,
Hello.
my name's Joey. I'm a Gryffindor.
Hello. Yay. Woo-hoo.
Holly's my wife.
Oh, wow. Fun.
It makes it's
Okay,
weird.
here's a question for Harry Potter. Well, just for Harry Potter fans, because this is a thing where when people go to like rival colleges, like University of Texas or Texas A&M, they have those like house divided half and half. Do they make those for Harry Potter houses? Because they good. Because I was like, if not, I'm gonna go leave right now and go to the patent office and call up Warner Brothers to be like, guys, I've done it.
There's scotch tape in the apartment. I'm sure you've thought about this. Wizard basketball, what's it look like to you?
Oh man, wizard basketball. It has to be something where it's like somewhat limited. I want to say it's just like certain things are enchanted. No, wizard basketball is NBA Jam.
Yes. That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's because like think about NBA Jam. They
Heating
jump. They jump way too high. They have turbo speed. They can break the backboard if they dunk it
You can
enough.
light it on fire.
Yeah, if you make 3 shots in a row and nobody else does, you're on fire. It becomes NBA Jam.
And then you take the polyjuice potion and turn into Bill Clinton.
Right?
Yeah. that, we're not kidding. That's part of the game. If you put in a secret code, you can play as the Democrats. It's super fun. So yeah, wizard basketball is NBA Jam.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello.
Hey there, I'm Kyle, and I'm a Hufflepuff.
Oh, yay! All right.
So my question for you is, other than the main trio, who would you like to hear a story of Harry Potter from?
Okay, so they are like the narrator of the book, or just we hear some sort of like story. They're along with the trio?
They're along with the trio.
Okay, so the trio gets one more. Let's see. I mean, aside from Charlie Weasley, obviously. I mean, I think Ginny would be a great companion, but we do get a lot of Ginny action. I want to say, honestly, Neville. We don't get enough Neville in the books, and I like that we kind of get this thing starting with the 5th book when Neville and Luna join for the Ministry of Magic stuff. They like come in and it's like, oh, hey, Luna and Neville are cool, and they helped fight and all this cool stuff. And then we end up learning more about Luna, but I feel like we don't actually end up learning that more about Neville. So I would want Neville along for the ride.
So I want all of the events of all of the books as told from the perspective of Professor McGonagall.
Yeah.
Because I have friends who are high school teachers, and like hearing them talk about their shitty kids, I just want to hear like an entire series of Professor McGonagall like talking about, do you know what they did?
Yeah.
Do you know what they like? Just going on about it, and eventually, like they're heroes and they're all friends in the end and stuff. But that's all I want.
Yeah. At the very least, just the McGonagall narrator perspective of every conversation she's ever had with Dolores Umbridge. That's all we need. Because like the stuff she said out loud, amazing. Can you imagine what she thought and did not say out loud?
I would want it to be Vernon Dursley.
Whoa! Hot take, let's go!
Watching him perpetually lose his mind until somewhere in book 5 he has either a heart attack or an aneurysm and passes away. But until that point, it's just gonna be like Don Vito from Viva La Bam.
Oh, wow!
That's a deep cut.
That's a good deep cut.
But just constantly freaking out.
I like it. Awesome. Thank you so much for your question. Oh.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, that's my friend Riley McKinley from
Hello.
Vine.
I'm
Hello.
Riley. I'm a Ravenclaw through and through.
Yay!
I did it. Yeah. If you guys could become a real person for your animagus in history or modernity, which person would it be?
Okay, so your transformation is into like a different human being.
Yeah, some sort of figure.
Okay, I would turn into Kristaps Porzingis, power forward / center from Latvia, 7'3" man on my beloved New York Knicks, because I would want to be the person that leads my New York Knicks out of the death into the promised land of the NBA championship. Also, I'd get to be 7'3" tall, which would be fun and interesting. I'd also get paid millions of dollars to play basketball. I currently get paid $0 to play basketball. Hey, it's Editing Mike here on a bit of a more somber note. Since recording this and just 4 days prior to uploading this, the New York Knicks decided to trade my favorite player, Kristaps Porzingis, to the Dallas Mavericks, and I am very sad. The move ultimately does make some sort of sense, and I get what they're trying to do, but he was still my favorite. It still makes me sad, but it's it's all good. My answer is pretty much the same, but I would probably just pick someone on the Knicks now because being on the Knicks is a crucial element to answering this question properly. So I will say Frank Ntilikina, my French point guard friend. That would be fun.
I'm gonna say Marie Antoinette because like 99% of that is like sweet living.
Almost everything.
Everything except for that end. I gotta go. You guys are great.
Yes, thank you, Allison, so much.
I was gonna say, like, not to get political, but I've done that a bunch already tonight. And the answer, I'm not even gonna explain it. You fill in the blanks. Definitely Jeff Sessions.
You would become him, or just so that you can undo, like, you can be the mole?
I can take his place.
Yay! Okay, I can dig it. Yes, as long as you don't keyboard elf.
Slytherin, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, before anyway, Harry Potter. Your next question.
My name's Tori. I'm a Gryffindor.
All right.
When I read books, one of my favorite things is after I finish the book, I will like stop and think and be like, what was my favorite scene from the book? Because I definitely read visually. Like when I read, it's like a movie in my head. So far, what has been that scene that has stuck with you that you will never forget?
So the one that for me is the end of the 5th book when Dumbledore fights Voldemort, and it's explicitly stated that Dumbledore is like walking in full stride and does not break stride when he's fighting Dumbledore. So like, oh hell yeah! So he's just like and like not saying anything, like because that's all just nonverbal incantations. So I think for that, that's the point when all of the spells were described in like such vivid detail, so it really helped like make a picture in my mind, and it was so amazing, and it just like really showed like how powerful Dumbledore is that he's fighting like what is supposed to be the strongest wizard ever, and he's not even trying that hard, and it's super good. And then I watched the movie, and it was nothing like the book at all. I was so sad.
For me, it's one of two things. It's either the reveals in the Shrieking Shack at the end of Azkaban,
which they also just ruined in the movie. Oh my gosh. Anyway, before we're here for 12 more hours.
But I think the top one for me is at the end of Goblet of Fire, when the reveal is of when they take the port key and all of a sudden they're in a different location. And you know that pull focus shot in a movie where the background gets further away, but it goes closer towards their face? It's like experiencing that for yourself for like a half an hour of reading, of just being like, I can't believe what's happening in this moment.
This is something that I mentioned in the podcast where it's like when you're envisioning the books, at least in my brain, you get like some sort of like colory tinge to the background. And like once this hit, it was like a gross, like grayish, dark purple. Like everything was like, oh, it's yellow, it's nice, everything's happy. And then it was like, actually, nothing is okay anymore. Everything has changed. You can't call these books children's books on your podcast anymore.
People are cutting their hands off. Fetuses are becoming humans. The Dark Lord has returned.
Yeah. So that would be our answers. Thank you so much for your question. Hello.
Hello. My name's Natasha. I'm a Slytherin.
Okay, fun.
Not a racist.
Great.
So, on account of how much you hate Quidditch, if you were in the Harry Potter-verse,
yes,
at a Quidditch game,
yes,
in the place of Lee Jordan, announcing the game,
oh yeah,
what would that sound like?
Okay, let's see. Do I like Quidditch in this world, or am I still me?
Of course not.
Okay, good. So it would let's see. It would be something like, I'm trying to think of one of the games. Oh, okay. So there's one that happens, I think, in the 6th book where like they get up by a ton of points, but then Harry almost doesn't get the snitch, and it's like still a thing. The Space Jam part when Ron hasn't actually taken Felix Felicis. So I would just say something along the lines of like probably like, oh man, Ron Weasley on top of his game today. But you know what's ridiculous? The fact that Gryffindor's lead's still not secure. They're winning by 110 points. You know what they could do? They could lose if this fill-in for Malfoy just happens to, take away everything. So he just gets it, and then they lose, and that's the end of that. Oh, anyway, Ginny Weasley's murdering it, by the way. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. So yeah, it would sound something along the lines of that.
Sounds about right.
It would just be a back and forth between like gabbing over cool things and then being like, but remember, we should be playing basketball instead. Thank you so much for your question. Hello.
Hi, I'm Carmen. I'm a Ravenclaw.
All right.
You get one magical item or one magical creature for a day.
Okay.
What would you pick? What would you do with it, and why?
Ooh, oh man. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I mean, the cop-out answer would be like wand and then everything. So I will go with not that. I feel like I'm just, no, I'd pick it. Okay, this is on the stipulation that I have not witnessed death. But I'm gonna pick a Thestral because then there's only two things that can happen. Either people see it and I look awesome, or people can't see it and it looks like I'm flying like this and I look ridiculous. And then I can also fly all over the place. So either option of the Thestral, awesome.
I was gonna say you should go with broomstick because it evidently takes no skill or muscle control to fly one. You just hop on and you're good.
Awesome, yeah, cool. I think that's that. Thank you for your question. Hello.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a Gryffindor.
All right, awesome.
Along the same lines, at Hogwarts, you can bring a pet with you. It's the cat, owl, toad or a rat, what would you bring and why?
Okay, I'm gonna bring an owl because first off, it's the only pet that like does stuff. Like the owl can like send you letters, which you can't do by any other way. I also went to Rice University. The mascot was an owl. That's an obvious choice for me. I would probably name it Pig, but just Pig, because Pigwingen's name was cooler when I thought it was just Pig. That would be my call.
I feel like I was born in the year of the rat, so I feel like I have to choose rat.
Sure.
But I also don't understand how that really works because like rats live 2 years and then get cancer.
Oh, what, really?
Pretty much.
No.
So I feel like you'd have to have like 4 rats over the course of your education. But the good part is if you get like a bad rat, then you can just switch them out.
Well, yep, there's that. Thank you so much.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, we have time for one more question, so this will be the final one.
About the chapter that we read, they've started casting some aspersions. What are your current feelings about Dumbledore?
In terms of, is he okay, and do I believe the rumors and stuff?
Do you believe any of the rumors? Do you think that he is acting completely honorably? Do you think he is to be trusted? Because there are people starting to say these things about him, and there have been sprinklings of things along the books of being he's things are a little weird, and ignoring Harry or all that stuff. How do you feel currently at this point about Dumbledore?
I still think very highly of him. I think just all of the stuff that's happened throughout the book, he seems like a really good stand-up dude. He just seems so pure, and the fact that he tears up at just the tiniest little things, just Harry standing up to Scrimgeour for him and feeling bad about not making Harry a prefect, even though Harry shouldn't have been a prefect. But I think that Dumbledore is just someone that he's one of those really good people that he is so not concerned with what people think of him that he is someone that doesn't have to go and try to put out fires and do all these things where he's basically Elon Musking all the time, where he's no, I'm actually great, and here's why. Dumbledore just is fine if he's let rumors be rumors. I know it's true. It's something that I wish that I had. I do not like when people say mean things about me, and I get very, concerned and want to make sure that my reputation's okay. But I think that Dumbledore is just someone that keeps to himself and isn't concerned about that, and that's why you have people like Rita Skeeter or Muriel or Bathilda Bagshot trying to say stuff and then him not really fighting it, him just being hey, I know who I am and I'm secure, and the people that I know care enough about it, so I want to trust Dumbledore. And if he turns out to suck, that would be the worst. That would be the worst plot twist of a character ever. Be oh, by the way, Dumbledore was the worst. Would not be fun. So I really hope he's okay. But that's my thought there.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get kicked out of here, so I gotta wrap it up. But first off, thank you guys so much for coming out. I cannot thank you enough. You guys are phenomenal, and the fact that you listened to the podcast and that you came out is so great. I just wanted this theater to be at least half full, and the fact that we basically sold out is ridiculous. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it so much. And if you want to go hang out with me and stuff, there's a bar next door called a Pizza Mart. I'm gonna be just chilling there. You can just go there and hang out. I'll be there. It's fun. We're all friends and stuff like that. But before we go, as they say in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, before they eat a bunch of pizza and drink beer and stuff, Wizard on! Thank you guys!
If you haven't visited PotterlessPodcast.com, you are missing out. Kelly has done amazing work on it. There's information about the show, fan art, pictures, stuff about the patrons, stuff about the charities we do, other shows that I've been on. It's all fantastic. You can go to PotterlessPodcast.com or WizardOn.com. Potterless is created by Mick Schubert. It is hosted by Mick Schubert. It is edited by Mick Schubert. It is produced by Mick Schubert, as well as Leanne Davis, Vicky Garcia, Aaron Johnson, Erica and Calvin Bauer, Sadie Baird, Jesse Horgan, Natalie Klobuchar, Deborah Wilkins, Klaus Serlopu, Alex Stark, Rebecca Adamick, Frank Chiodo, Marchismo, Tori Larsick, Samantha Rose, Juan Sanfilio, Jenna Dowsett, Kieran Webb, Abita Med, Caitlin Jordan Pontillo, Rosemary Dodge, Jill Boulay, Marie Lisa C. Keen, Ariel Bird, Romina Rivadeneira, Pinky Pan, Camille Dock, Anthony Bonarigo, Russell Dunk, Dustin Wolin-Cooch, Katie Rogers, Audra, Indiana Mercer, Eleanor Curlin, Sydney Cawthorn, Billy Hinton, Rosanne Batamana, Micah Cole, Andrea Franz, Nikita Power, Colette Smith, Srini Unadcat, Lala Palmer, Chelsea Green, Taylor Armstead, Lovekesh Longer, Ali Madsen, Cassandra Aponte, Roxy Chaos, Emilia Kraus, Sean Montag, Jeremiah E. Hurd, Sarah Nink, Jesus J. Morales, Ben Silver, Rachel Guthrie, Zachary Pulido, Jessica Ann, Natalie Jung, Arna Goodna-Daughter, Brandy Baldonado, Melody McGinnis, Kristen Chavez, Zach Ross, Klein, Elisa Figueroa, Diego Costa, Daisy Carton, Stoddard, Jessica Jacob, Orchid Grower, Jonathan Foy, Joe Harrison, Isabel, Steve Trelaw, Vivian Santos, Samuel Miner, Victoria Renee, Elena, Takaria Ront, Darlene Ruiz, Drake Perez, James Stepp, Haley Hastings, Marino, Moster, Hannah Shepard, Angelina Withred, Ross Marie Heise, Peter Bemis, Maria Vega, Phineas Ebner, Natalie Lozano, Hermione Hoff, Victoria Julian Lee, Ganji Singh, Alex Bisholta, Brian Williams, Caitlin Sullivan, Cecily Togball, Raul Avila, Finn Stuckey, Mosin Siddiqui, Grace Riggle, Sammy Crazy Arul, Pineda, Ingan Oddsdaughter, Mary Wynn, Brian Wingate, Heidi Stoll, Alexandra Consulver, John Cott, Kurd, Jen, and Juice, Sephron Baez, Dusty Nickerum, Noel Soleil, Tao, Hala O'Keefe, Emily Tyrell, Michael Russell, Robin Fernandez, Rebecca Shumway, Patricia Colon, Aaron Rapp, Jane Lance, Will Barrington, Neil Fournier, Liz Bigelow, Mariah Noah, Brandon Pickens, Victoria Nicoletta, Saren Enslin, Claire Spencer, Teal, Sina Schutzenberg, Silje Brunstad, Rodmansony, Desiree Korf, Rory Collier, Gloria Gillum, Sarah and Patrick Donovan, Alicat29, William Byford, Hallie Bowen, Linnea Sievert, Veronica Bartova, Everly Kindred, Lotta B, Noah, Tracy Toya, Lucinda, Carlos Nino, and Can't I Potter? Web design by Kelly Beckman, and the music is by Bettina Campamanes. You can find us on social media at facebook.com/Potterless, twitter.com/PotterlessPod, instagram.com/PotterlessPodcast, or reddit.com/r/Potterless. For any information about the show, you can go to potterlesspodcast.com, and bonus content is at patreon.com/Potterless. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, as they say in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, wizard on!